now enters the potential flex war between mid and top lane, where they'll both look for edges. You ideally want to have the Kennen against the Renekton and get Aurelia the matchup against the Neeko.
Yep, gotta wait until 20 seconds when they're locked in.
And on the side of Jin Air, you have Neeko, Elise, Renekton in the mid lane, Ezreal, and then Sir Thomas Kench right at the very bottom. And this team composition, the Elise has so much pressure on her. She needs to get the Renekton primarily going, because that can be the one champion that can prove to be really difficult for SANDBOX to handle.
Who knows? Maybe he's actually going to get Jungo ahead in one of these lanes. Let's hop into game one and find out. Jin Air fans coming out in throngs tonight, not holding back, still waiting for that first series win that we have not had just yet here for Jin Air. Just sitting on 0-9 after the first round. It's been a sad state of affairs. SANDBOX, they looked good to potentially sail into 8-1, 7-2, and they ended up taking that spanking of a loss up against Dom1. So we'll see how that wakes them up.
Something interesting.
Yeah, let me know.
All right. So, did you notice the stats on Draven when he was locked in? 100% win rate.
Yeah.
Okay. There was also a 0.9 and a 0.9.
Yeah.
Could this be Jin Air's 9-9 start, or will it be their 10th loss? I'll be here all night.
I feel like I'm in an anime right now.
I know. You can go Super Saiyan.
The storylines, they all seem to line up right now.
Yep. We're going to find out. This is it. All right, so Tana, he's going top lane. This is a little bit interesting. Elise is going to start on the red side. And Neeko turning into Ezreal.
Yeah.
And
Draven took Kleptomancy, by the way. Don't see that every day.
He wants to just try to bully the Tahm Kench and get an acceleration that way. And that's what I was talking about, where the Kennen and the Draven come online faster than other teammates. And so there's a little bit of a mismatch in that regard, but it's definitely not going to be the end of the world. The Summit, he's playing mid lane, and this is fantastic, because typically you only get to see this if the pro players are really, really good and proficient at playing multiple roles. And so this is quite nice. The Kennen is up against the Renekton, and he's up against the Renekton in a short lane, whereas Aurelia is now getting to go up against the Neeko in the long lane.
Yeah, I mean, it's the perfect swap, right, for the side of SANDBOX. Instead of swapping the champs, they'll just go ahead and swap the players. So definitely good stuff, although Malrong is waiting in the wings. Here comes that stun. The flash already going to come out as Chungo considering going for that follow-up with the Elise. Just a little bit too far away.
And it's really good timing, because this is the timing where Summit needs to crash the wave. Malrong wasting a lot of time now, though. He does have 4 camps already complete, but he's going to have conceded left-hand side Scuttle Crab, and this can be really ugly. On Fleek is only level 3, but Dove finds himself with a cheater recall. Able to crash the wave with so many minions remaining, he's able to recall and circumvent having to teleport, and he comes back to a wave that's coming into him that gives him the ability to freeze whilst retaining teleport. Starting to finally see it in Season 9.
Yeah, and it's mostly top laners that we have been seeing it from. Maybe that's why they're picking up all the MVPs, LS.
There we go.
Rigging the votes because they started freezing the lanes. And that's what's going on. I mean, top laners on the MVP line, it's Rascal, Summit, Nuggery as top 3. You got Dread tied for second there.
It's really bizarre. Malrong is completely misreading the Sejuani. We saw the question mark pings onto the Krug camp as well as above the inhibitor, assuming that Sejuani would have recalled, but Malrong got vision of On Fleek when he was killing the Scuttle Crab, so had he hit tab, he would have been able to count Sejuani's CS and then known that given that HP value and mana value, there's no realistic way that Sejuani should have to recall at that point in time. This is a beautiful counter match game.
Oh, Summit, he goes for the lightning rush, trying to bait them in. Can they get the kill on the Chungo? They will get this flash. You can see how Summit was just lightning rushing forward because he had the Sejuani behind him, and they get a win out of it.
And so now, Kennen with the teleport, if he can actually get the recall, oh, Malrong might go for a flash cocoon. No, Summit's not going to take the bait. And Chungo has just lost mid lane. So, Kennen is now going to be light years ahead of the Renekton. Not only is he going to crash a wave into the turret and get some of the chip damage, you can see that Tana is trying to remedy the situation, rotates down into mid whilst there's a freeze happening on top, and you can see the pings coming out of Dove. They know that the lane swap is going to start happening now, and let's see if they mirror the response or... Yeah, it does look like they are going to mirror it, but it doesn't matter. The damage is already done. Janair is quite far behind. Okay, they are really
Look at the
playing.
shenanigans. They're on a ward, though. So SANDBOX sees everything, and they say, okay.
Do they know who's who? I mean, they should know who's who.
Yeah.
Well, if Nico casts a spell, okay. Top lane is...
If Tana made himself into Renekton, then WTF2 Renekton.
I believe this is the level 6 wave, too, for Dove, as soon as he eats that cannon. Oh,
no. I'd like for the observer to click on him, but look at the pings. They have vision of this the whole way through. It's good timing out of Malrong because the wave is pushing, but just great vision out of the side of SANDBOX.
Oh, okay. So he does end up getting level 6, and you can just see the level of coin flipping being done right now by the Elise.
Yeah.
They know exactly what Malrong's doing. And this is what he's done the entire split, where he does these very gambler coin flippy type things. He plays pirates in teamfight tactics.
He's looking for the big rolls, you know, the four coins 3 times in a row.
He tries to get 3 level 3 units by level 5, yeah.
He's rolling the dice, man. He's
If Twisted Fate was a jungler, he'd play it. You know? You gotta roll that passive.
His favorite game of the casino is craps.
Oh, man.
And it's such a good read and vision by the side of SANDBOX. They're like, okay, if you're going to do that again, we know that you like to do it. We'll just put a ward here. We'll just get the Infernal Drake, by the way. No big deal.
And this is a little bit of an awkward spot right now where Chungo actually has a really strong freeze. And Chungo, what he's trying to do is feign that Tana is nearby because they don't have absolute knowledge on her. Now they do know that Nico has returned to mid. But Summit is losing quite a bit of CS. And he needs Sejuani covering top lane in order to perforate this freeze, get the crash into the turret, and the bounce back in top lane. So Sejuani should forego, which she is doing, her jungle camps, rush up into top lane and allow Kennen to crash the wave. Unless Chungo botched this. Well, I'm actually not sure what Conflict's doing right now.
You could see the pings calling for the Sejuani to come mid, and I think that distracted him, and now he went top. But
I think he got the crash anyway, though. Chungo allowed it to go away despite having the river ward. And now, meanwhile, down here in bottom lane, the Draven, he only finds himself with a slight CS advantage. They do both have Kleptomancy, though. Unfleek does not know that he was spotted earlier. They're not going to be able to kill Chungo. Not sure what he's doing. Well, this is really good baiting, actually, though, by Chungo.
Yeah.
By taking a trade in that manner, it would convince SANDBOX that there can't be a ward. And so trying to just delay and absorb so much time from Onfleek. Now the interesting thing here as well on the blue is if Onfleek doesn't get level 7 from the blue and doesn't have intentions to hand it off to Aurelia, Onfleek didn't get 7. He should have just done the Gromp and Wolves to maximize buff duration, especially because Scuttle RNG'd left side.
Well, not thinking that far ahead perhaps, as he's going to use that blue to spam abilities on those camps. Nice little play down here. Root trying to push it in, you know, and Ghost does not have his teleport. Another interesting thing here for the bot lane is that both supports did end up taking that unsealed spellbook, which was popularized by Tucson. Love to take it every single game. And a lot of other supports have been following him.
Well, Sejuani picks up the Scuttle Crab. And Joker, you know, talking about Unsealed Spellbook, he has teleport available.
Oh boy, here we go. Trying to read this one, trying to get the stun first. There's the flash. They are not going to use that Sejuani ultimate. They did not want to dive the Renekton after the Dominus was cast, but they still get the flash away, and they'll take that as a win.
And Chungo, remember, he doesn't have teleport available, so the fortunate thing for him is that it is a cannon wave, but now after having canceled that recall, he's going to be stuck in the lane against the Kennen. This is going to be much more beneficial to the Kennen with Kleptomancy. And you can see that Malrong, he's trying to respond to this by running top lane, and he is praying to the Rito gods right now that Summit overextends and they can find a kill.
Yeah, but Summit just going to take that pressure that is pushing in, and Onfleek is back, actually. We do not have the Slicing Maelstrom, but no flash here on the Renekton.
Now the wave's actually coming into Summit. So because Chungo doesn't have teleport and the wave's coming in, you can basically laugh at him and say, hey, the wave's coming in, are you going to do something about it? And if Chungo says no, well then you're just happy anyway because you'll kill him via the freeze through the XP advantage as well as the gold advantage. And if he does try to do something about it, you can say, Chuck Testa, Sejuani's right here.
Yeah. But instead, ended up pushing, and then the Sejuani was spotted on the Rift Herald. So maybe they wanted to put pressure on that objective instead. There is some vision now on the Rift Herald here by the side of Janair. So they should know that the Sejuani is going to start it up here in just a moment.
So Sejuani hits the Rift Herald, clears out the pink ward, and yeah, alright, not going to end up actually starting it. Running over to the Infernal Dragon. You can see if Kennen was just running there, he doesn't have to actually use his teleport. Dove has teleport. Everyone could just run there right now and then teleport after. The Infernal Dragon is worth so much gold in terms of stats. And Elise hasn't recalled yet, so still no Runic Echo. And what they're doing right now is they're really playing against the fact that Chungo had to rotate into mid lane. They're attacking the teleport setup from Janair. Joker has his cleanse available again. They're going to get themselves the Spell Crash.
Yeah, SANDBOX coming on in here. Onfleek has an escape if he needs it for now. You mentioned the teleport. They had to send Tana up to the top lane, which gets these favorable lanes back here for the side of SANDBOX. No flash on Chungo, so he kind of just has to sit here and try not to die, which should open up some pressure here for SANDBOX to potentially take down this Infernal Drake. As Jonah Strong is getting a workout, moving all these guys from mid and top. Poor observer.
All right, they are now starting the Infernal Drake. And Elise, it looks like, going to get the blue buff and then maybe come over. Teleport available if they need it on Tana. But this should just be handed over to SANDBOX.
Oh, trying to ult up Malrong here. Is he going to get in range? No. And the Cocoon does go wide. But SANDBOX have a bunch of abilities to get over the wall. Only Ghost has to flash. And that is a big and nice trade here for SANDBOX.
And they managed to actually end up saving teleport. I can't quite see the top wave, but Tana might just be returning to a freeze. Actually, it looks like it's 4 blue minions.
Yeah.
Can't quite tell what is going on there. And SANDBOX with 2 Infernal Dragons. They're going to roll a third one. They have a Draven. So,
speaking about the gambling from before, SANDBOX is very happy with the way their dice rolls have been coming. And the RNG is certainly in their favor tonight.
This is like when you both go pirates and all that you do is you get boots and the dead fish skeleton. And then the other guy always gets 4s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're just stealing each other's stuff the whole game. It's
like, but the other guy's getting all of it.
You just have like a level 1 pike that's just
you have level 1s on everything.
Doing nothing.
Level 3s.
Level 1 Graves is awkwardly in the back corner, like you don't even want him in the front.
You eventually go up against him, he's playing Pengu. Oh no, he's playing Silverwing.
Yeah.
And he runs up to you, and he just screeches.
Starts singing the song. I know that song, it's in my head. I'm not going to abuse the chat with that one. You guys can play TFT if you want to hear it. But, yeah, I mean, SANDBOX, there hasn't been a lot of action in this game, but there has been a lot going on, which I think that myself and LS have been covering pretty much in detail. But pretty much all of these bits of back and forth action have been in favor of SANDBOX so far.
So the issue that Jin Air is going to have is that their champions are worth less than the SANDBOX champions, just in terms of base scaling. And so because of that, not only are they behind in base, they're also behind in XP, they're behind in items, they're behind in dragons. Everything is just going to feel like a nightmare. Even if Jin Air end up getting first turret down here in bottom somehow, it's not really going to amount to much. Malrong looks like he's tilted.
I mean, he is a player that likes to go all in the early phase, and if it doesn't go his way, it definitely falls off more often than not.
Plays competitive like it's solo queue. That would be, I think, the best way to put it.
I think that's pretty accurate. He definitely has the mechanics that you would see from somebody who's trying to carry in solo queue, but
which is so surprising why he goes for the gambles as often as he does. Protobelt having to be used defensively there. And it looks like SANDBOX is just going to be content to wait for the third Infernal to spawn and then end up picking themselves up a Mountain Drake after that.
And then type GG in all chat.
Alright. So, Iceborne Gauntlet is also going to be the item for Ezreal. Not going to be the best item against the Kennen and the Sedge in terms of resisting their damage, which is, interestingly enough, will be accelerated a little bit by the Infernals. Given that there will be three of them. Sejuani normally doesn't really, you don't look at her as a champion that gets much bolstering. Okay. That was a stopwatch.
And Dove just laughs at him and says, okay, I guess I'm just going to kill you. First blood. As that goes down, and so does the mid turret. And once again, it feels like the towers are swiftly falling here for Jin Air.
Yeah. Draven is quite big down here in the bottom lane. He's going to be pressuring that turret. Root does not have teleport available, and you can see that Kellen doesn't seem to be on the same page either. Because Root was wanting to recall, but then a ping came out, and you saw that Kennen was even recalling as well. That's going to be the turret. So this is the part of the game where things fall down.
Yeah. All the turrets.
We'll take another look at this solo kill. And it's just a really clean, that's a very nice stun. You can see that Tana activates his hourglass before Dove was actually truly committed. Even though Dove misses the W right there, it doesn't quite matter. Dove dove him.
There you go.
Thank you.
We can actually call him Dove. As the Korean side, they call him Dobu, which is Dove.
Dove soap?
Maybe. I think so. Yes, okay, G-Sun. Oh, no, she changed her mind.
We'll never know.
Okay.
It is now.
Dove soap, okay.
All right, here we go. This is what I like to see. This is what I call the team liquid. We're gonna group for the dragon that we can't actually win.
Oh, don't do him like that. It's just like game one here at Jin Air versus SANDBOX. You gotta drop one on TL.
Here we go.
Okay, bit of poke is coming out, but it is gonna be blocked here. Nice job by Joker.
I like what SANDBOX is doing. They're making Jin Air really think that they have a chance in this fight.
Look at Summit. He's like, okay, here comes the real AoE as a nice devour out of Kellen is going to save one of them, but that's 3 Infernals, and Summit is in your back line as Tana is going to be the first one to go down here. Lots of low members on the side of Jin Air, just trying to get the safety and a bunch of poke, but here comes Summit trying to poke him down. All the flashes from both sides. As Chungo trying to step forward and escort his teammate to safety, but that's going to be 2 sacrifices, and only the President gets out alive on the backside as SANDBOX, they get the Infernal, and they get a bunch of kills as well. This game is...
I'll be here all
They get the roll. Oh, boy. Yeah, SANDBOX having a good game here, guys.
Yeah, SANDBOX can't lose the game. We're just going to call it right here. So this is the really surprising thing. So Jin Air, they want to fight a situation that they can't ever win. They actually get a pretty good amount of damage down onto SANDBOX. The SANDBOX messed up a little bit, but it just doesn't matter. You can see how far ahead they are. And then it was a full-on retreat. Summit coming in for the flank on the Blood Moon Cannon from the north. Kungo tries to heal up as much as he possibly can. Nice stun, landed onto Kellen. And then right there, it looked like they were going to be able to get on Fleet, but not quite.
오케이.
Ghost got, I think,
로또 터졌다.
765.
돈 1,000원 벌었어, 1,000원.
그냥
배치으로.
갈게 이거.
I got 1,000.
Oh, you got 1,000. Okay.
Only 1,000?
He hit the lotto.
Not impressed.
That's what he was saying. As, yeah, he's up to over 9,000 already. That Draven's smiling down there in the bottom left, as is probably Ghost.
Well,
we're getting close to a perfect game here. No turrets, no Drakes, and no kills right now to the side of Jin Air.
I think realistically, if they just put a Dragon's Tooth on Draven right now, there's no way that Malrong or Tana can kill him.
Yeah.
And that would be the only out. So.
Yeah, but, you know, rolling double Negatron Cloak.
Yeah.
Tell me about it. It's pretty hard.
It is. It's quite bad. Well, we'll see what Jin Air tries to do here, as the Mountain Dragon should be able to convert immediately into a Baron capture. And Jin Air are going to be hard-pressed to come up with any sort of an answer. And their team composition, it just doesn't have it. This is one of the problems when you draft comps like this. You have to get ahead. You create this pressure on yourself that requires opponents to make mistakes or for you to noticeably outplay your opponents. And there's no insurance policy in the comp. The only insurance policy that you might be able to argue could have been the Ezreal, but not with how the game turned out.
Yeah, I mean, SANDBOX right from the get-go seemed to have their wits about them a little bit more than Jin Air. You know, they had the swap going right at the beginning. They wanted to get the favorable lanes with the Kennen into the Renekton rather than vice versa. And afterwards, you know, just the war is just to spot Malrong for every single gank that he went for. The Kennen was really safe in the mid lane too, because of the short lane. He could just lightning rush away from the Elise. And after Malrong wasn't able to get anything done in the early game, and they were able to pick up that first Infernal Drake, that's when it really felt like the game was easily going in SANDBOX's favor.
Let me break something down for you, Valdez.
All right.
Take a look at Kennen's item.
Yeah,
That is a Morellonomicon.
I've heard about that item most often on your Twitter,
I'll tell you
actually.
this really weird thing. When you already have a stopwatch, you could, all right, hear me out here, purchase a Fiendish Codex and a Seeker's Armguard in order to obtain the Zanya's Hourglass, all right? That'll allow you to reutilize the stopwatch.
Okay. Yeah.
Instead, we allocated 1,400 gold to get a little bit more AP and 100 HP to reduce the non-existent healing on the side of Jin Air.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
All right.
Hey, Renekton heals.
Yeah, that's important.
And Ezreal
I've never been
has
so
the Cutlass.
blown away by something since Olaf.
Yeah, this is kind of like your new Olaf nowadays, to be honest. As might have a fight break out here. See, Jin Air is trying to kite them down and doing a pretty good job of it so far, so no fight coming in here. Bit of poking onto Joker, but shouldn't matter all too much, as SANDBOX are gearing up now for this Mountain Drake. Summit attempting to come in from the top side here. Knocking Root back, immediate cleanse out of Kellen. There's a bunch of damage though, as Kellen might be picked off here. One more auto would do it. It's okay, we're doing more than an auto, as Summit wants to get on top of them in the back line. On Fleet, gonna get super low, and actually Tungo and Tana able to take him out here. Good stopwatch timing, and he's gonna flash away to safety, but one more auto does it from Ghost, and a couple more to take out the Nico, and this Draven is gigantic in this game.
And Infernal Dragon's really coming in big in
Oh,
these
Root.
fights. So Root has to be really careful. Ghost is going to go all the way back to full HP. Okay, that's unbreakable.
Yeah.
And now they're going to be able to get the Mountain Dragon. And with the Mountain, they can just have Draven in on fleek 2-man the Baron. It should not be that difficult.
Yeah. See that Draven right now, 335 AD in this game at 25 minutes. That plus the Mountain to just nuke down. Okay, we're getting a second Mountain.
Oh, this feels nice. All right, that was a really good cleanse by Kellen, but the Thomas Kent was not long for this world as Summit flashes forward, slicing Maelstrom, and you can see that Tana and Chungo, they tried to do everything that they could. They actually end up picking up on Fleek. It does come at the expense of an Ignite. They won't have that available next time. Also, Stopwatch expended by Chungo. Lots of summoners, and it's important to note that Jinair, they have a much heavier reliance on their summoner spells than SANDBOX does, mostly due to how far ahead SANDBOX is. And last team fight, Renekton, he tried to do a bit. Tom, he's struggling.
Yeah, I mean, Tom was just trying to cleanse really well, but I guess he didn't have his flash, or maybe he was stunned down for the majority of the end of his health bar. As the kiting was good up until the Tom died, and then Summit was just able to fully commit. And this is the League of Drakes right now. This game has turned into that with 3 Infernal Drakes and 3 items now. On the 3-0 and 3 Draven.
The thing that's a little bit surprising right here is that there's no reason to play ping pong with the side lanes. They can. What?
I mean, they're all slowed up here as Kellen once again trying to help him out, but Malrong and the gang are going to take an insane amount of damage.
Oh, they got the Guardian Angel.
There you go. Dove not able to do much.
Summit?
There. No,
Having to Protobelt away.
Just frozen up there for a bit of time, but they get the jungler and they get the 2 kills, and SANDBOX immediately going to turn on to Baron.
Yeah, and they definitely have the damage to do this. Joker gonna cast the Unbreakable.
Let's see how aggressive. Okay, pretty defensive here, wants to get into the pit and just defend. Will Dove.
Bitter Blossom's available on Nico.
Yeah, the poking is coming in. The spike comes down from the Braum. Joker with the Unsealed Spellbook on fleek. A little bit too far in the front. Here comes Root trying to poke him down. Dove is going to flash over, and here's Draven in the front line. As they are not looking for the fight, that is going to sail wide. As SANDBOX are trying to get out of there, and Jinair not able to keep him around.
All right, well, Jinair, they get themselves a little bit of breathing room. They're also going to be able to indirectly attack Baron by removing all the minions from the map. They don't actually attempt to do any turret damage. Instead, they're going to run back. Elise is going to start farming for right-hand side jungle. We'll take a look at how this all transpires. So, on fleek, trying out for the New England Patriots. As he whiffed right there, didn't quite matter. As Dove able to be right there. But on fleek, a little bit angry, yeah. Body blocking him. Didn't want to be outdone. Now, this is where it was really surprising. You can see that it seems like everyone's actually just on a different page. Now, they don't all want to go into the Baron pit because of the Bitter Blossom on Nico, but they get locked up right there. This is the really surprising part where they can surrender Dove, and Ghost will kill them all.
Yeah, I mean, Chungo just did not seem willing to go in, and SANDBOX just say, well, okay. I mean, the Renekton looks a little bit scary, so maybe they were just a little bit scared about that. Now SANDBOX with the Baron. The majority of their members looking for the kill. Not sure about Root there in the front line. Probably thought he was going to get devoured, but here we go. The rocks are going to start toppling here, as SANDBOX are going to take out the majority of the members of Jinair and push on for the win.
And that's going to definitely be game number 1. There's no way Tana should be able to resist this. He does have his ultimate available, but okay.
Oh boy, come on, stop the bully. Let the poor Nico live. As that did not seem on the agenda here for SANDBOX in game 1. They get 3 Infernals, a Mountain, and a chance at a second one. They take out Jin Air. They totally outplayed them at every step of the way in game number 1. That game was not close.
Yeah, that game was...
Malrang trying his best, but as you mentioned, kind of playing like solo queue, and I think that his style is just totally red across the board in the LCK. I feel like teams just know exactly what to do whenever they are up against Malrang as a jungler, and SANDBOX read him perfectly in this game.
Yeah, there was realistically nothing they could do in the early game. The jungle gap was so big, as well as the lane assignments. The way that SANDBOX was so willing to just send Summit and Dove into rotating lane states endlessly really put a damper on Jin Air's early plans.
You can see that that sign said, today, SANDBOX is Lucky Sevens. And they were exactly Lucky Sevens with the Drakes, but it was pure skill when it came down to the game victory in the end. Ghost got to play his Draven once again, so I'm sure he's happy about that. Maybe we'll see even some more random picks in game number 2, as it was not a perfect game. Actually, Jin Air was able to pick up 3 kills throughout the course of that one. Root did a ton of damage, but he wasn't able to carry the rest of the team.
It's a lot of 6s on the side of Jin Air. Mark of the Beast.
Getting kind of creeped out here, Les.
Are you?
What do I do?
Well, I'm not sure, actually.
You were right, though.
Your flight's delayed now. Jin Air is not getting off the ground.
Yeah, they were grounded for now. Gonna have to stay on the runway. We're having some delays, although maybe that break between games or series 1 and 2 might be just cleared for takeoff. As man, that game 1 was really one-sided. Not sure what else to say about that one, LS. We are going to take a quick break. When we do come back, SANDBOX versus Jin Air, game number 2.